What's up, guys? TheHillTwins are here. Today we're with another deck profile. That's Son Goku.
What's up, guys?
Bonds of Friendship. Now, the idea with this deck is that a lot of decks are running the mono blue version, and they're running the blue black, and then they're running the blue yellow version. I mean, the black yellow version. We've seen a few lists, including mine, that have blue yellow, but the reason why this list is one of the most productive lists, especially with blue yellow, is that it's sticking to. It has a different game plan than what a lot of other decks do, right? And it's more adapted to deal with a lot of other things. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this deck profile, okay? Also, we're going to split the analysis up into 2 videos so that we can have effective timing, you know, for people who just wants to get a basic idea of the deck, and then for the other patrons, $10 and above, who really want to get into the deck's nitty gritty, okay? So for starters, we're going to be running 4 Son Goku, The Adventure Begins. Now, what this card is going to allow you to do is search out your Dragon Balls from deck or drop. And also, it's going to be searching out your vanillas. Now, what you want to do is you want to always search your deck first so that you could thin your deck. Unless, of course, you're playing against your number. In that case, you're not going to want to thin your deck. We're going to play Bonds of Friendship, Android 8. Okay, he has to be paired with him for the Victory Strike matchup. I'm gonna explain to you why very soon. But he searches out your vanillas, which is very important because this deck plays slightly different than a lot of other Kid Goku decks. Okay, but the main important part is that he searches out your specific vanillas that you need. We're gonna be playing 4 Temporal Rescue Trunks. Now, guys, a lot of people are playing the Roshi. Roshi's a great card. I like this because my drop can be fueled very early, especially Janemba's main boarded, and you know sometimes you won't be at that 6 life. So I mean that 5 life or lower. So since he can awaken at 6 life, it's just better to have a super combo that you can use on his awakened side, especially his awakened side fused the drop as well. So you would have no issue using this super combo. Then we're going to be going into 2 drops, and that's going to be 2 Super Saiyan Son Goku Blue, as you guys can see. Just the standard vanilla, and it's blue, so it has ability for blue energy. Then we're going to be running 2 yellow Super Saiyan Blue Son Gokus. Now, this one also vanilla, standard, and it's going to give us a healthy mix with our energy energy ratios, okay? Then we're going to be running 2 Super Saiyan Vegetas. Again, same thing, just having access to blue energy as well as it being a Vegeta and it also being in the vanilla, and you can tutor it with that. Now, I wasn't running this before, but it's very important to play, especially in the strategy that we have against against all decks. This is very important. Training Buddy Krillin. So Training Buddy Krillin is a great card. I wasn't playing it because my deck is not necessarily aggressive, but this gives me the added aggressive. But the biggest thing that it does is that it negs an opponent's card 5k, which you're going to want to neg their Crisis Crusher. Crisis Crusher can suppress this deck slightly, but not entirely. But if you can drop this, you can bring in play a big drop as well, and on top of that, you get to kill off their Crisis Crusher. So that's really important in that match, especially in the Victory Strike matchup. Okay. Also, to the fact that a lot of Victory Strikes, they're running the Marshu, Meister, Shin, etc. And just being able to drop this and putting in play that out as well, you could swing into those Shins and they have to just guard. You know, they have to guard. If they don't guard, they lose the card. And they are able to guard effectively, but in this case, you know, you're gonna have multiple swings. We run 2 Hidden Power East Kai. Now, Hidden Power East Kai, obviously, you know, you're gonna want to play that at 2 to 3 copies in this deck. 2 is a great number because it's just a finisher. My deck, this version of the deck doesn't focus on rush because rush is also vulnerable, right? Now we're gonna hit the 3 drops and we run 2 Zarbon, the Emperor's Attendant. And this card is what enabled us to beat Victory Strike. So a lot of times, Victory Strike players, they're gonna have to choose between tapping our energy out and tapping our board out. If we set up Bonds of Friendship and Android 8 by turns 2, turn 3, even if they did have a Crisis Crusher, we would have taken care of it turn 2 with this. But if we set this up turns 2, if they don't have Crisis Crusher, which most of the decks are not main boarding Crisis Crusher because they don't need it, right? They don't untap energy, so they're not worried about Whis, and they just feel like they can tap this and get over it. This one, no, they can't, because what happens is that if they end up tapping your Son Goku, now during that combo when they swing at you with Victory Strike, you just combo this one card. You're gonna restand your Goku from rested to thing. Now you combo with your Goku, and Bonds of Friendship triggers, and you just kill Victory Strike instantly. Main board answer to that. This also does pretty well against certain other matchups, like other variants of the Brawly, because Brawly on his front side, on his Awakened side, can rest cards as well. So this is really good. It also helps with Bojack Brigade, you know, them being able to rest you, so you have some options. But the idea is that we don't want to lose to Victory Strike, and this is a main board answer to Victory Strike. You know, they have to deal with these cards, and if we set up multiple of these, then they don't have a fun. The game's not fun for them. For Son Goku, the vanilla 30Ks. Now we only run 4 guys. It's really important. Resource management in this deck is gonna reward you very heavily. Only need 4. A lot of us are running 6 to 7 copies. There's no need to run that when these could be recycled so many times. There's no need to run extra cards when you need space for other stuff. So 4 is fantastic for the simple fact that, 1, we don't search the deck. We never search the deck with Kid Goku for him. We rarely do. So what we'll do is we'll drop this. This can pull this. We combo with this for defense. Then we put it in play with Kid Goku. That way we're maximizing Kid Goku. We're maximizing our hand. We're maximizing our combo power. So that's really important. Now moving forward, we run 2 at all costs Vegeta. Now people are like, oh my god, what's going on? This doesn't look like Kid Goku. Of course it doesn't look like Kid Goku. At all costs Vegeta is also 20k Vegeta. It pairs with him as well, and it's a finisher. A lot of versions of these decks rely on this as a finisher. It's not so great. This is an absolute finisher, right? This deck lacks finishers. This is a finisher. Okay. At all costs, you already guys know the card is effective. Then we run 2 Gogeta Hero Revive, another finisher. Every Kid Goku deck that I've seen, I have not seen a Kid Goku deck that runs Gogeta. You mean to tell me that on turn 5, I can pair one of these with one of these, or one of these, or this with this, and have access to a card that's going to shuffle your opponent's hand down to 3? No. Especially against Janemba, especially against High to Mastery if you get an additional turn, especially against any deck in the format, the Mirror Match, which this deck does very well against the Mirror Match, which we're going to go into. So this card is just too good not to run. You run the targets. It's just extremely effective. So yes, we run that. And then our last finisher is obviously Demigra. So Demigra is God tier level 99, 5,000, million, 100, whatever you want to call it. So basically, again, when you look at those are the battle cards. When you actually look at the battle cards, you know, we have finishers right here. These are finishers. If you wanted to go aggressive, you have Krillin, you have this, and then you have your packets, which can allow you to special summon certain cards. So you can go aggressive, but the deck is more conservative. It can play every state of the game. It can play early, aggressive, mid, aggressive, late aggressive. It can play early conservative, mid conservative, late conservative. It's a very, very, very balanced deck. Now moving forward into the extra cards, we're going to just go straight into it. We're going to be running 3 Nimbus. I'm sorry. 3 Nimbus. So 3 Nimbus is literally I was running 4. 3 is fine because Storm is not a huge thing. There is some Storm with red, but Storm is not a huge thing. So 3 is fantastic. Yellow on point with my yellow. And it's just a card that's going to help you beat the Kid Goku decks. If they cannot get multiple attacks against you, that means on the hindsight, they're wasting a lot of resources when you build your board, okay? So that's really, really huge. We run 1 Bad Ring. We run at all costs. Why not run Bad Ring? We run yellow. Why not run Bad Ring? If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But if you open with Bad Ring, more than likely, if you have one of these already, then you hold Bad Ring. Especially against Janemba, you need Bad Ring. So you open with Bad Ring, you hold it, okay? Moving forward, we run 1, 2, 3, for Senzubin. That's the bad boy. You know you gotta run Senzubin. It's an enabler, a defense, it's everything. And it's also coming reprinted. So that's really cool. I don't gotta explain Senzubin. Then we have 1, 2, 3 power bursts. So a lot of times, especially against the Brawly matchup as well, it's just fantastic when you could say like fly Nimbus, then power burst them out of a turn. You know, they attack with, leader or whatever, or a lot of players, they attack with leader, you Nimbus them, then you power burst them out of a turn. Power burst is really important. I did run it out but for space issues and obviously to have access to tech, we had to cut it down. But this is really important because this keeps this combo going, and this is your main source of defense. So you have defense with defense, okay, and then you have aggression. So this deck has equal defense as it has aggression, which is really unprecedented. And then last but definitely not least, we run 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 4-star Dragon Balls. Now the 4-star Dragon Ball, again, this card you need to run. I feel like 5 is the solid number. A lot of people playing 4 and 6. 5 is a solid number. You don't want to. You want to see it in opening hand if you don't have this, but at the same time you don't want to rely on a card that is not necessarily effective. So that's literally the deck profile. We're gonna go into the sideboard. The sideboard, we start on off with 1 Zarbon. We need to see Zarbon, especially against the high to mastery matchup. So, you just decided them against high to mastery. If you beat them game 1, which more than likely you will beat them. If you don't show them this card, you will beat them game 1. Game 2, they're gonna get very scared. Don't worry about Crisis Crusher because Training Buddy handles Crisis Crusher. Okay, nothing else matters other than holding a Zarbon in your hand, opening, and holding maybe a training. Nothing else really matters, honestly. Just make sure you have 1 Zarbon. Okay. Moving forward, we run 2 Time Control Klonoa. Time Control Klonoa, obviously, high to mastery. They like the Shugesh. Any Shugesh deck is a problem because this deck, when it wants to go off the game, we have at all costs. We have Son Goku, and we have Bad Ring, but we can't stop a Shugesh Kid Goku. So that's very, very important. We don't want to have them to have access to that. 2 Deadly Destruction Reese, very good against Janemba, and a few other matchups where they want to manipulate energy. It's just an extra card, just in case you may feel you need it. You don't need 3 or 4 copies. Now, biggest thing is TN 1, 2, 3. Janemba is going to be huge in this format. So obviously, to beat Janemba, we're going to be playing 3 TN. We want to see at least 1 to 2 TNs that game. And just pairing it with a Gogeta or Demigra or at all costs, it's just so huge because TN says you don't get to stop. So now I get to be very aggressive with you, and you can't defend adequately. Okay, same thing. We run 1, 2, 3 attacker horror margin because there's blue and green leaders everywhere. Green Brawly, blue Brawly. There's Lord Slug, etc. But the 2 main meta decks, Brawly and Brawly, this is effective. And the other main meta deck is blue, that's effective. So the decks that we really want to affect, we have these at 3. I don't think anything needs to be at 4. There's nothing that says, I auto win. 2 Crisis Crusher. 2 Crisis Crusher is effective for the mirror match. And it also helps out in a lot of other matches. It can help in Janemba turn 1 if you get rid of the Psyche Demon. Certain pan matchups, etc. Just really good, but this is mainly for the mirror match. And then we have 2 Crusher Board because Green Brawly he's a tough cookie. Also, another reason why is that a lot of times if you have mostly yellow energy open, then what will happen is if your opponent high to mastery and tries to tap your battle cards, then they may leave a yellow energy open. So when they go into the Victory Strike, then you may be able to crush aboard their Victory Strike. If there's an opening, it can work in that as well. But largely, this is for the Secret Rare. If your opponent, this deck is so defensive yet offensive that if your opponent cannot resolve Secret Rare against you in the Green Brawly matchup, they lose the game. And I'm just going to be honest. If you crush a brawl that Brawly, they lose the game because you can just go so wide. So again, the analysis video as far as sideboard and how to play against all the other matchups is going to be in the next video. I'm just going to, against any general matchup, your goal is to hold on to Kid Goku's Android 8s. They're very, very important. Nothing else really matters. If you don't have those, then you can hold one star, a 4-star. And your opening hand, if you don't have this first before the Mully and you have a 4-star, do not risk it. Hold the 4-star. It's important because if you don't draw this, your game's gonna be very slow. How to play the deck as well. Flying Nimbus and Power Burst are extremely effective in nullifying the matchups, especially against the mirror match. So those cards are effective in that. Holding on to those effective. Son Goku, great card, but you only need access to 2 in a game. This deck only necessarily needs access to 2 in a game. So these are very easily yellow energies. A Nimbus is easy yellow energy. If you're playing against any deck that's not high to mastery, that's easy yellow energy for you guys. Blue energies, you can do one-ofs. Just that's how you play this deck. Ultimately, Bonds of Friendship is going to search out whatever copies that you don't have for the Gogeta, and they're going to get hit at all costs. Obviously, it's a finisher with Battering. And this is pretty much the deck, guys. It looks very, very simple, but it's extremely complex in the way that you've seen it play online and the way that it's able to zone your opponent. It's just really, really effective. So I know a lot of people don't want to play Janemba. This is a great pick outside of Janemba. The total best of 3 matchup, it can obliterate Janemba very easily with cards like this and this, main board. So there's just a lot of good options for this deck, and it's a very good regional season deck as well as a prelim deck. A lot of players think that, Janemba is the be-all, end-all. It's not. Thank you so much, guys, for viewing this video. We're going to have so much more to come for you. Analysis video is going to go up for the $10 patrons. And as always, stay super.